Hey guys.
Howdy, partners.
Hell yeah, brothers.
Happy Monday. Thank you for joining us.
Happy Monday.
For our season finale.
Yeah, this is it, guys. WTF.
I can't believe
Oh my
we've
God.
made it this far.
We're at the end of season 1. We are taking a hiatus. Okay, my brain is not
hiatus.
working. We're taking a 1-week hiatus. It's fine. Catch up on any episode that you've missed in the meantime. We're going to take a week, just do our thing, regroup ourselves, figure out how we can come back and make season 2 fucking
Even
lit.
stronger.
Lit. Okay, we have an amazing guest on today. Her name is Genesis. What did she say?
Perez.
Perez. Thank you.
Genesis Perez.
Genesis Perez. She's Miss Florida 2017 and 2018.
She's awesome.
And she's great. She shared some really great things about mental health, depression. We talked a little bit about suicide, trigger warning if we talk about some sensitive stuff. So just letting you guys know ahead of time, we do talk about those things.
Yeah, but I think that it's a really good episode.
Yeah.
I feel like she gave us we got a really good insight on pageant life.
Yeah, I had no idea.
We
It was
had
so
no idea.
political. Like you just don't assume those
We
things.
got the tea on the pageants.
Oh my goodness, there was so much tea.
Yeah. So what's happened since our last episode?
I don't know. I just feel like I got a little richer.
Feeling sparkly.
Feeling so rich.
Icy. What are other words?
Okay.
Frost yourself.
Frosty. Guys, nugget. I got engaged.
Our bitch is engaged.
I'm an engaged ass bitch.
I can't believe it. I have been holding this in for like months now. So if you guys heard episode 9, I think it was, we're like, oh, Olivia's about to go on this trip. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited for you. I'm over here just like dying. I know everything that's going to happen.
I hate that everyone knew, but not that I hate it, but like everyone knew except for me. But it was so good. He proposed in Antelope Canyon. I don't want to like give it all away. Maybe that will be our like season opener for next season for our first episode. And I can like talk about it. But yeah, I had the most insanely beautiful, amazing week. Like I could literally cried. I cried every day because I was just like overwhelmed with happiness and gratitude. It was like literally the best week of my life. I'm gonna do a whole blog post about it and like really like dump out all my feelings and emotions. But yeah, I'm fucking engaged, bitches.
It's beautiful.
Officially off the market.
So Olivia got engaged. I did shrooms.
Very typical of us.
Oh my God. So I did shrooms and I get a text from my roommate like while on shrooms. And I had like left my phone like away, but like I had like checked it like, periodically, make sure everything was all right. Everything was not all right. My roommate texted me.
Oh my God, that happened when you were shrooming?
Yes. My roommate texted me and he's like, hey, our building's on fire. It looks like it's on our side. And I was like, what?
That's literally the worst thing he could tell you while you're tripping.
And then I get like someone sent me a video on Instagram because you can see my apartment, you can see my unit from the highway.
So it was this corner, literally.
It was literally like 3 units below me. Someone sent me a video. There's like smoke billowing out of their balcony.
Shit.
Yeah, because I guess they had like tried to have a cookout and shit just went awry.
Oh, that is so scary. Wow.
Yeah, but it didn't affect my trip too much because then like I confirmed with him. He's like, oh, they're good. Like we're good. Our unit's like chilling. But like it was so scary.
How crazy.
I was like, I text him back. I'm like, yo, I'm on shrooms. I need you to let me know everything's all right.
Are we good? Are we not good?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
But that's like my little update. Everything was beautiful. It was my first time doing shrooms by themselves. It was a lot of fun. I definitely want to have an episode where we talk about like psychedelics and just like plant medicine and because I mean like I'm not doing it like recreationally like, to like trip, I'm doing
more of
it
a spiritual
to like,
journey.
It really is, and just kind of like discovering things about myself and things about the world.
Love that. All right, guys, well, we're gonna go ahead and get into our episode. We hope you guys enjoy it, and
if you haven't already, subscribe, rate us some 5 stars, we'll love you forever,
please,
and enjoy this episode.
Enjoy, guys. guys, what's up? We have Genesis Perez on with us today.
Hello, guys.
We're so excited.
Same here.
She is Miss Florida 2017 and
18.
And 18.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
We're so excited to have you on. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you guys for the invite. I mean, I've been wanting to get on, the podcast vibe lately.
Get on the wave.
You guys have been doing amazing, and I'm just happy to support you guys.
Yay.
Thanks, boo.
Okay, cool. So we definitely want to chat about, and just so you guys know, we're going to keep this kind of like free form, open conversation. We don't have as much of an outline today like we usually do. We're just going to kind of see where the conversation takes us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we actually met you back in Haiti about like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago now.
We were on like a little mission trip, so that was fun.
That was amazing.
We-
that trip changed my life.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Really though, it definitely did.
It was 100 volunteers, dude. Like
It was crazy. So we actually, the way Jess and I were able to go is we won, and we mentioned this in one of the previous episodes too. We won like a model volleyball tournament, and the prize was a mission trip to go to Haiti with the Jack Brewer Foundation. So that's how we were able to go. And then I'm not sure how you were involved in
it was
that.
through a friend.
Okay,
Mutual
cool.
friend that was going, and I ended up, because I didn't play that year.
Yeah.
In the tournament.
okay.
I was signed with an agency, but I didn't play.
We
But
We didn't play either. We were just on
We
the
were
roster.
just on the roster, literally.
Cheerleaders.
We were the cheerleaders that day.
Still.
But yeah, that was such an awesome trip. And
Really was.
Really
Life-changing.
eye-opening just to see how other people live, and just makes you so thankful.
Yeah,
for
super. It was definitely
everything.
a great trip.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
Yeah. Introduce yourself to our audience. A little snippet.
This is, nice to be able to be here and just talk a little bit about, my background. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico.
Love that.
It's different. The culture is just a lot more Latin.
Yeah. Well, you're in a good place though. Miami is very Latin.
Yeah. So I figured I'm from a small town. It's Arroyo. And I just always thought that there was always more out there. But for me, it was difficult because I was taking care of my grandmother at the moment. And it was it was hard to let go of that string.
Yeah.
Knowing that I had to go and live my life.
And what age was this when you decided to move?
This was not so long ago. I was 24.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
I'm 28, turning 29 in a couple of days.
Oh, yay.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, so you were 24.
Yeah, I was 24 and I was just trying to figure out, what city fit me the best. Because when I graduated high school, I lived in New York for 2 years. And, I wasn't in that mindset of, okay, I got to make money. I'm with an agency. And I was just, trying to experience and explore. And the cold was just too much for me. Yeah, I felt like I had to be
Heard that.
close to the beach,
Yeah.
a little bit closer to my family, 2-hour flight. So I decided that Miami was the place to be. So I came and I had a corporate job.
Same.
For some time.
We all do.
It was fun, but it was difficult because I had it was my new life. I had that's when you realize, okay, this is what being a grown-up it's about.
Yeah.
And understand that I had different responsibilities. So I moved here, worked corporate, and then realized, I should be doing something more. My time was always very just for work.
Yeah.
And I needed more time to do something that I was passionate about. I had just competed in Miss World International, which was in London.
Well, before you continue, how did you even get into pageants?
Yeah.
How did that start?
So pageantry is really funny. I was an athlete in high school.
Okay.
And
What kind of athlete?
I did track and field.
Okay,
And I
cool.
played volleyball.
Awesome.
Yeah. I did the 1,600 meter race walk was my event.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Fuck that.
Yeah. And, it was cool. It kept me disciplined and competitive. So I've always been very competitive. I had a friend that was competing for a Miss Universe, and we were going to a casting in Puerto Rico. And I walk into the casting, and the guy was a Dominican guy. He was like, you should totally do Miss Universe. And I'm like,
Really?
me? I'm like,
Yeah.
wait till you see my friend. She's a monster. She's beautiful, she's tall. And he's like, no, you should do it. I was like, I don't think that's for me. Mind you, my hair was this short because I had just came from New York. So
Yeah.
I had no hair. I
Yeah.
was bald. And pageant girls are known for,
long, luscious
hair.
waves.
And I didn't have that. So the guy's like, you should totally do it. I'm like, I don't know. So in the corner of the room, there was this person sitting down, which I knew of. He was pretty much telling me, hey, next year don't compete because we already have a winner. And I'm like, I told my best friend, why would you compete in something that they already have a winner for?
Right.
Like, how is that even a competition? And she's like, prove them wrong, just compete. So I competed to prove someone that I can actually do what they thought I couldn't do.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, that's how it happened. Like, I was never interested in, I didn't grow up saying, oh, I'm going to be Miss Universe. Like,
right.
I was just more athletic,
Competitive.
Yeah. You were like,
more than any
I
guy.
was like, you think I can't beat these girls?
Watch me.
I didn't know, like, what it took to, like, prepare. So I got with her team that year that, she won. She won that year. She did great. She won. And he was like, let's do this. So I started training with my walk, my interview, and just more like stage presence.
Yeah.
You have to give people a feeling of who you are.
Yeah.
You want them to feel close to you.
In such a short period of time, too. Like,
you have to leave an impression.
Yeah. And it's a first-time impression. So
and that's it. That's all you have.
So I started training and placed first runner-up that year. This close to winning.
For Miss Universe.
Yeah, it still hurts my heart. Like, it does because, it was a huge accomplishment from a girl from a small town. And I didn't get to go to Universe that year, but I went to Intercontinental.
Okay.
They sent me, they handed me the title. They didn't have anyone for that year. They felt like I was the most prepared girl to go. So I went and I placed first again. Yay. And it was a great experience.
Okay, because I don't know anyone else who is in pageants like this. So what are like the scales? Like, how does it work? Like Universe,
Okay,
Inter,
so the scales is different systems, right?
Okay,
so basically it's World because World has been operating the longest.
Okay.
World is more about beauty with a purpose. It's more about a girl that it's there for the community and does charity work and it's just very involved in the community.
Okay.
Right after World was created, Universe was created.
Okay.
But Universe is more popular.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard
because
Universe
it's more Latin.
Okay.
And Latin countries are more out there, pushing the girls.
Gotcha.
This World is more European.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's World. Yeah, so it's World Universe. At the moment when I was competing in the 5 Grand Slams, which are the top 5, was World, Universe, Intercontinental, Earth, and
There's a Miss Earth? Wow, I didn't even know that.
She was recently crowned. Our first Miss Earth was Puerto Rico.
Hey, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Good.
So there's different systems for different reasons. I competed in the top 3 systems.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Okay.
2 of them representing Puerto Rico and 1 of them representing Florida.
So cool.
And so where does Miss Florida tie into that?
So basically when I made the transition of coming from Puerto Rico to here and I finished and I was just done with corporate, I got the opportunity from someone to compete for a regional pageant. They were like, you should do it, you should do it, you should do it. And I'm like, I just competed in Miss World and I didn't place. And people had me like as the winner. And for me, that was just like, you know what? I think pageant has done, a good thing for me because it's taught me a lot about myself. That's what pageantry is really about. But I
want to get into that too, definitely.
Yeah, it's you find yourself through the process of making yourself better in different ways as a human, as a person.
Right.
It definitely helps you grow in different aspects. You find your womanhood. Yeah. So that's why I'm so passionate about it because I see how it's changed my life and how it's changed so many lives. So I kind of just fell in love with it and just kept competing and competing. It gave my life some kind of structure also.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I had to prepare for it.
Right. And gives you kind of a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss World was awesome. I had a beauty with a purpose, which was dealing with kids with disability. So
love that.
I kind of kept using that as, a fuel and doing other things. Even though I wasn't our Miss World Puerto Rico, my role wasn't finished. It was just to continue. It was a platform that was given to me. So,
and I love what you said about like finding yourself because I think obviously with pageants, I think there's kind of a stigma that it's very surface level,
materialistic,
very like just what's the word I'm looking for?
Surface
level and all about looks.
Yeah, I just think people are not informed. They don't do their research. They just see what they see. Especially now with like social media, you post a picture, just people think that you live this great glamorous life, which is, but it takes a lot more than what people think it is.
Of course.
Of
course. There's so much more that goes on behind the scenes and what it takes to get there.
I'm sure it's like extremely competitive.
It is. At World, I competed with 130 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
And these are like the top girls of every country.
Yeah, of every country. And I knew I had my chances, even though I know a lot of people are not going to like that I'm going to say this, but politics does play a lot.
Oh, of course. I mean, in everything, I feel like politics plays a role.
Yeah, especially if you're a dark-skinned girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my case, I'm not only dark-skinned, but I'm Latin. So, you know, I don't really have the upper hand. And, you know, to be able to represent my country as a dark woman, I consider myself a dark woman because, you know, Puerto Ricans, we're mixed. We have white, black, and Taína. So
what's Taína?
Taína is like just native.
Native.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's a mix.
Okay.
So you don't really see, I didn't really grow up seeing like a role model that was my color.
Okay.
I can name a few, but you know, there weren't many growing up. So
that's awesome. What do you think is the biggest thing you took away from pageants? What do you think is the biggest thing that you learned from your entire experience looking back?
That I learned?
Yeah.
Just to be a good listener, trust your team.
Okay.
Because your team, you know, when you have a team that's taking you to compete, I'm talking about your promoter, the guy that makes sure that you have everything in hand.
Right.
Your interview coach, your runway coach, your, you know, the person that preps your body and kind of, you know, gives you a little bit more insight that it's not just your body you're taking care of, it's your mind also. Because your mind is very powerful. So
that's huge.
I had a great team for every year that I competed. I was just truly blessed. Like I had a lot of people that, you know, it wasn't about charging me for their services or, you know, because they're giving you tools that you need to compete because they know the system up and down.
Right.
So they're going to give you their best insight based on what they know and who you are as a person. And I had a great team.
Good.
I was very blessed. Like I had the best team that we're still friends to this day. We keep in touch. You know, I visit them all the time. And, you know, I felt like those were the mentors that I had in my life at that moment that I needed to succeed at what I was doing, which was pageantry.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have to be in such, it's almost like a vulnerable position because you have to take all the constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Constantly, right?
Yeah. I think that's the most difficult part.
Yeah.
Because you have people judging you that don't know you.
Right.
And you have to like learn not to take it personally.
Yeah,
as well.
and I learned that.
Nothing is personal.
Absolutely.
Right. What do you think the most challenging part of all of it was?
I think at the beginning was just trying to explain to my family, stay at the vlogs, don't respond to comments on Instagram or Facebook because it can come back to me, it can affect me.
So you think the publicity part?
Yeah, it's very small, the pageant world. You know, it's like our own little world, but it's there. And everybody knows everybody. So anything can affect me directly or indirectly, even from the team that I choose. I don't know who they have beef with.
Right.
Yeah. And
It's very complicated.
How do you feel like the pageant life kind of like affected your mental health? Like, was it hard at times to kind of like stay grounded and?
I think there's different parts to it. Mainly because when you start, I'm a vet now. So when you start, you know, you're experiencing a lot of things as a young adult.
Yeah.
As a woman.
Yeah. You're trying to find yourself.
As a title holder. So it's just different stages. At the beginning, for me, was just more about, I want to bring out the best of me. How do I show that to people?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Because, you know, a lot of people compete for different reasons, you know? For me, it was just, you know, I was at a point in my life where I didn't want to go back to school. I felt like, I'm not going to say school is not important. You know, it's extremely important. But in the moment that I was in my life, I felt like I had to explore other options because from the city that I am from, you know, everybody does the same thing because that's just something that's implemented to you when you're young. You graduate high school, 4 years college, you get married, you have kids. I didn't want that. So for me, it was more about just trying to figure out, you know, what made me happy and not have regrets later on. This is something that my mom has always told me, like, don't be afraid to move around. Be afraid to stay in the same place all your life.
Love that.
So I kind of just took that in. She's, you know, a very strong woman, a hustler. She moved to Puerto Rico from Puerto Rico with all three of us at a very young age. And like, I always admired that about her. So I just kind of went with that. Yeah.
So do you feel like she like played like a very strong role in kind of?
Oh yeah, because you got to take risk in life.
Yeah.
You know, and if you come from a family that kind of holds that a little bit, you know, it's not that you're not going to succeed in life, but your chances to be successful are less because you're in fear of should I? And I was so fearless, especially at that age. Now, not so much.
Yeah.
But at that age, I was like, I'm just going to go for it. Like, I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And what you said about, like, you know, that you kind of took a different path for yourself. Yeah. And that's a conversation that we're waiting to talk about, like do a whole episode on, is like the whole college discussion of like, do you need it? Is it good for everyone? And I don't think I never want people to think that we're like shitting on going to college or getting an education down. Education is amazing and valuable in every way.
Yeah. But I will shit on the idea that everyone
has to go to college. Like that's such our thing.
Such a traditional line of thinking. Like
very
like there's just so many other options that I feel like we're just not even taught or shown.
Yeah. And maybe I'm not that at a certain age. Like I want to go back to school next year for different reasons, because I like to be flexible with my dreams, and I'm at a point where I want to head now. I need it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's I think what the important thing is to tell the people who are in high school right now. It's like it's not don't go to college or do go to college. It's like, what do you, and it's hard because you're 18.
Makes you happy?
What makes you happy, and like what do you think is the right path for you? Because college isn't necessarily the right path for someone when they're 18 and graduating high school.
And it takes time.
Yeah. And
to figure yourself out.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's taken you this time, you know, you're about to turn 29 30. And you're like,
and I'm like, I'm getting old, and my mom is like, girl, life is just getting started.
My mom went back and got her master's at 50, you know, like, and I think that's something that we as a society need to embrace more of, like, you can always go. Everyone's like, oh, but the longer you wait, the harder it is to go back. No, it's not really. If someone comes around to terms with it and is like, okay, now I feel ready, then that's when they feel ready to go to school, you know?
Absolutely. It's just like honoring that path. Just literally just following your intuition.
Yeah, for me at the moment, it just wasn't something that I wanted to do. I wanted to leave this small town that I felt captive in. Yeah. And I just wanted to go. You know?
And for you, that's like what your calling was. Imagine if you had people in your life who were like, but you need to go to school and you need to get an education. Right.
Imagine if you listened to this.
Yeah. No, but I was very, like, that's my best friend.
Yeah.
She's 80 years old now.
And it's hard to kind of ignore that, especially when it's coming from your loved ones.
From a place of love.
But she was very like, this is your life.
Yeah.
They were very supportive, like, you know, parents. And I was still going to do it.
So they were like, oh, well, we've got to support her.
Exactly.
I mean,
either way.
Scary. Very scary. I didn't know, my English is getting better as time goes by, but, you know, a new language, living in the city of New York, it's...
Okay, so you were born in Puerto Rico. When did you move to New York?
I moved to New York when I was 17.
17, and then you moved to Miami when you were 24?
24, yeah.
Okay,
gotcha.
I didn't realize you spent that much time in New York.
Yeah, I was born in New York.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was wasting my time.
Wait, you spent 2 years? Wait.
And you were signed as a model out there?
Yeah, with Wait.
The timeline isn't adding up.
It's a lot. I know. I moved around a lot.
You went to New York at 17.
I lived in Puerto Rico from since I was born all the way to 17. At 17, I moved to New York for 2 years. I was there until I was 19.
Okay. Bold move.
Yes. Then I returned to Puerto Rico to compete for Miss Puerto Rico Universe.
Gotcha. That was the gap in time I was missing.
And then I kind of just explored for a little bit. I went to Germany to participate for Miss Intercontinental.
Cool.
I came back, took a couple of months off to kind of regroup to see if I wanted to keep doing pageantry. Did Miss World Puerto Rico, won. Had to stay in Puerto Rico to prep for a whole year, competed. Came back to Puerto Rico, and I was like, what's next? There's nothing here for me, you know. I'm gonna move to Miami, and I was 24 by then.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Glad we figured out
that's
that timeline.
Yeah, I moved around a lot when I was young, to be honest. I think that's why I was never afraid of change. Like, changing my environment, like,
especially because you started at such a young age, challenging yourself in that way, and just like kind of like throwing yourself to the wolves.
Yeah, you know? Literally
putting yourself in new environments, like having to create new friends, like young on. You know, y'all know what I mean. When you're young, I moved around a ton because I was a military brat, so it's like.
You guys definitely did.
Yeah, so I mean, I find that I can like adapt to new situations like so easily, and I'm sure you can agree with that. So what do you feel like was a pivotal moment in your pageant career?
Yeah, like what do you think, what's a moment that just like really stood out to you or maybe changed the course for you?
there was many pivotal moments in my life, but I think the moment that definitely changed my life was when I competed for Miss Florida USA in 2016 to represent them in 2017.
Okay.
And I got dethroned. Like, I got my title taken from me.
That's insane.
So you won and then were subsequently dethroned after that.
Yeah, a week after.
Does that happen often?
No, it was the first time that's ever happened.
Really?
At least in the state of Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's insane.
2 weeks later, Miss
wild.
Cristeli Caride in Puerto Rico got dethroned too.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I mean, that's all that hard work.
And how do you think that like affected
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of hard work from me and my team. We kind of, pulled that win last minute because I had just came from Puerto Rico. So I felt like I was always looked as an intruder, kind of. Because the way that these pageant systems run is, these girls compete 5, 6, 7 times to win a state title. And I come in and win out of my first try. So they didn't like me.
Oh,
I was okay with that. Like, I wasn't there to make friends.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
That is big spoon energy right there.
Like, I was there for one reason only, and it was to,
win.
To win. I was very kind and polite, but
Right.
I kind of like reserved my energy just for myself.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know anybody.
Yeah.
These girls have known each other for years, so it was like a little clique that they had.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine it. I'm sure it's very cliquey.
catty. It could be very catty, but when you don't engage to that energy,
Right.
It can't affect you.
it doesn't affect me, and it just puts you in another level.
That's
know?
key.
So they hated me. That's the truth. They didn't like me.
Haters are motivators.
Yeah, they motivated me so much.
Yeah, true.
I just feel like they thought that it wasn't fair because I was new to the system. But
They're just jealous.
Jealousy, but which is part of everything. But it just depends. Like, how do you want to use that towards your goal?
Right. Yeah.
I didn't let that affect me.
Yeah. Instead of letting it be a negative thing, you kind of turn it into a positive.
Yeah, I had a great group of people around me that were pushing me forward.
Yeah.
So, I was kind of like a better listener at that point of my life comparing to the first year that I competed. These people know the system up and down. And I think, honestly, the owners of the pageant wanted me to win. They knew that they had a winner for USA because I was prepared. I invested a lot of time and a lot of money throughout my whole entire pageant career. So they were going to go with the girl that was more prepared. Yeah. And that was me.
So what happened with the dethroning?
So basically the claims were that I had gotten help with my hair and makeup. Mind you, let's say that I did. What does that change anything?
Yeah, okay, so this is what I
crazy to
don't...
us.
Yeah, I'm like mind blown because here I am thinking that like,
Every
of
girl
course,
gets their own hair
I'm
and
thinking
makeup
they
done,
all
yeah.
have their own beauty team and everyone has their own hair,
You
makeup.
do.
Oh,
You do.
Okay.
But for Florida state rules, you're not supposed to.
okay, specifically to Florida.
Right.
That is
So interesting.
interesting.
So I competed, get dethroned. A week later,
That's unreal.
it was a pivotal moment because, it changed my life in so many ways. It was in the news, and the way that they managed my dethronement was, I feel like it wasn't fair. I found out through a picture on Facebook of
Jesus.
the first runner-up with the sash that says Miss Florida and her crown. And she was taking like a selfie with a FaceTime call with one of her people from her team. And I was sitting in the car with my sash on my lap and my crown. And I was like, WTF, what's going on here?
Yeah, I like in my head, I'm
You're like,
thinking you
wait.
got like a letter or a
No,
phone call.
it was so unprofessional. It was like almost like they were trying to like hurt me in a way.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was very hurtful.
Wow.
It really like put everything in perspective. And I was like, I don't deserve this.
And that's so bizarre, it being such a huge like program and organization for them
especially
to be
them.
to be like so unprofessional about it.
They
is
had that
crazy.
franchise for 40 years.
Yeah.
It was only owned by one family.
And how did you like recover from that afterwards? Like, what were your next steps?
Yeah.
Like, how did you handle that?
Obviously that's devastating.
So, when the lawsuit happened and the moment that it happened, like I said, I had great people around me, and
you're,
it's America.
You're referring to the like you sued them after.
Yeah, it's America. So I was just like, what's next? What can I do to fix it?
Yeah.
And my team was just like, you can do many things. I think you should sue them. So I had to deal with
and
that.
You're like, hell yeah, I'm fucking suing.
You know what's funny? I had gotten like 20 grand that same month from a car accident I had in June. So I had money to like acquire for a lawyer.
Hell yeah.
And
I just got chills because it feels like serendipity, you know?
I was like, what can I do to like fix it? And I got connected with Richard Wolf, which is an attorney here in Florida that represents a lot of people in the entertainment business.
Okay.
So he was like, you got yourself.
He's like, we have a case.
He's like,
sure.
Let's go. Hell yeah, brother.
I already had a career. Like, I was already, if you look me up, like, my name was already in Wikipedia from competing in Miss Universe, Puerto Rico, Miss World, Miss Intercontinental. Like, I already had my, you know, my career high. Like, I wasn't just some girl competing that they were dethroning, you know? I just felt like,
they don't know who they fucking with.
Yeah, exactly.
basically, they thought I was going to go hide under a rock. And I was like, nah. Like, I wanted to fight it a nice way. Like, I was trying to, you know, find a way to do it because I know that everything was going to be very public. That's why I felt it was very pivotal in my life, that moment, because so many people were saying so many stories, and, you know, it was out on the news. It was out on so many articles and, you know, and sources that are believable sources.
Incredible, yeah.
And people had no idea what was happening or the reason why I truly got this wrong, which I'm not going to speak about. But, I think at some point, you know, I've healed from that. But if I wanted to get something more out of that situation, I will eventually when I write a book, because it was just so much that happened that year for me.
Yeah.
I get dethroned. I go through a lawsuit. Mind you, lawsuits are very difficult. They're very draining. A lot of money gets involved. It's more about politics also, to be honest.
I mean, everything, unfortunately.
And I was just like, okay, you know, do I want to do this to myself? I was at a point where I was just like completely drained and
emotionally I
was destroyed.
Because
everything.
not only are you dealing with the stripping of something and like the kind of like grieving the amount of time and money and energy spent on getting that win, but on top of that, you're dealing with like the stress of having to literally defend yourself in a court system.
Not only that, but people were, you know, I had all types. I think what hurt me the most during that process was hear like former ex-misses talking about the subject when they had no clue.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm talking about girls that would go on The View and like do interviews about, you know, was it fair that I got my crown taken away or not, my title.
And hearing their opinion when they
and I'm like, who are you?
You don't even
judge me.
You don't even know me. You don't know my life.
You don't know anything of what's going on.
That's how did you deal with the publicity and the PR lash of that, like the backlash?
Everyone's
of
like,
it?
take opportunity. This is your moment. You should be in every channel. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because you weren't sure if you wanted to go on to compete again, so I feel like you've kept it pretty.
Yeah, to myself. I didn't want
Yeah.
anything that I would say to affect me. But at that time and point, I didn't think I was going to be able to compete anyways because I had aged out that same year.
Yeah. Will you explain that to our listeners?
Yeah, so I had aged out basically means that was my last year I can compete because I have an age limit. 2 weeks later, Miss Universe organization that is owned by IMG changes that. And 28 is the new age that you age out. So I thought to myself, you know, I'm just going to take some time for myself. And I kind of just hid away from the world for a year.
Did you make any sort of statement?
Never. I think this is my first time talking about it ever.
Oh, wow.
It's been 2 years now.
This
But you
is her
and-
public statement.
PSA. But you went back and you subsequently won
Again.
again and again.
Got your shit, girl.
Hell yeah.
So for me, you know, like I was saying, you know, after that moment, you know, kind of just
Wow. Oh,
shook my life. I almost felt like a rug was pulled under me.
Yeah.
I went away. I took some time for myself. I stayed in South Florida, but I didn't really have a social life. And when I was getting out of that deep depression, I was just, you know, finding my friends and like the clique that I wanted to be around. That's when I meet Jack Brewer and we meet in Haiti. That's kind of when I started to realize, you know what? This is something that was meant to happen for a reason. It taught me a lot about, you know, believing in myself, my self-worth, and just always doing things, you know, with a good heart, because everything's going to come back to you eventually. So I left it alone. You know, the girl that was crowned that year, I'm not even going to mention her name, the first runner-up of that year, she was given my title. It was a handout because I could have fought for it. Like if I wanted to fight for it, I could have taken it to court. I just didn't think it was fair for her or me. Like we already had gone through the whole thing, and it was just like
it's not fair to anyone.
So I was just like, you know what? It's fine. I let it go. I took some time for myself, came back out on the scene, and told myself I planned to compete, but I wasn't sure. But the hurricane in Puerto Rico happens, end of 2017.
Right.
And that
was Hurricane, what was it?
Maria.
Maria, you're right.
Yeah. I was working with Global Empowerment at the moment, and I was pretty busy with them. You know, they did a great time. Like the whole time that they were doing the whole relief effort, like they were like just very disciplined people, like very hands-on. They handled everything very well. And I kind of got too involved to the point where I was just like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And what was your involvement with that?
So basically what I did was logistics on ground. I think we flew in about 56 planes with aid.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Humanitarian flights. I was in charge of the warehouse and a lot.
Yeah.
I had the time to do it because I was healing still from so many things.
And I'm sure it was nice to dedicate yourself to it.
My family was there for sure.
Yeah, and what a great way to kind of heal, because like obviously giving back is like, and I've said this multiple times before, but once we kind of, well, we have the ball rolling already, but once we build more of a community in Miami, we definitely want to do more philanthropy work. So like, because we know like that's our bigger why. And I'm sure for you during that period of your life to be able to give back, and especially because it was from in your small hometown.
It's healing for you.
It was my family, and I just felt like I had to be there. Thankfully, you know, I have my 80-year-old grandmother there, and you know, I had the resources to give my family everything that I could at that time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But when Florida USA came back around, it was with a new organization and new owners. And I was like, I don't think they're going to want a girl like me that sounds like could be a troublemaker to their brand, because it's a brand.
Right.
Would they crown me? You know, if they feel like I am the person that actually has the tools to win Miss USA, will they just place me in the top 5 and just leave me there hanging?
Right.
I had a lot of, you know, pressure because I was already a winner from the year before, so I had a lot to prove coming back.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell anyone I was going to compete. I took like 2 weeks to myself after the relief to kind of just put myself together. I was super skinny. Mentally, I didn't feel like I was there. But the whole purpose of me competing again was to bring awareness to what was happening in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
As a Florida representative and just being a native Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
I feel like with that title, I can bring awareness.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. You did it for that reason.
I did it for that specific reason, to bring more light to, you know, what we were going through. It was very painful. I did my part. I did the best that I could, and it was time for me to kind of like get some type of reivindication. So the only way to do it was to compete again.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody. I just took some time off, got myself together.
And you came back and won that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that. Thinking about it now. And it was very rewarding, you know, getting to come along, you know, with a new organization and see how people, you know, treated me. A lot of the girls that were there competing that year, it was funny. I got to tell the story. So
give us that tea, sis.
So I called my best friend. She had competed with me the year before. Her name is Lindsay. And I say, Lindsay, where are you? And she's like, I'm at Miss Florida USA's inscriptions. And I'm like, okay, so you're there in Tampa. And I tell her, I'm on my way.
And what is the inscription?
Meaning you have to sign up, be registered.
Okay.
Like all the girls were going to be there. It was like the big day.
Yeah.
You know?
And you had to see who's like showing out.
And you had been low key.
I had been low key about it, even though I
love that. She's like, what up? Yeah, I'm fucking here.
Yeah. So it was kind of just like that. You know,
I love that.
I had turned in all my paperwork. I had done everything that I needed to do to compete officially, but I had not put it out there because I wasn't ready how people. I didn't know the reaction of people. I wasn't trying to make it.
Yeah, you were sticking to yourself and doing your own thing.
So I call her, right? And I tell her, when everybody's done, you know, doing their registration and they're sitting down, let me know.
Oh my God.
Makes a grand entrance.
Because for me, I didn't want to be in the mix-up, like, with everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't want it for it to be awkward. So she's like, okay, registration starting in 3 minutes. They gave the last call. So I was like, okay. So I come in. I had, like, this very nice ponytail pulled back, this beautiful dress.
You look all put together.
Yeah. And then my best friend chooses the front table. Mind you, 250 girls competing. It's a full room.
And you're like, really? You have to take this fucking table?
And I'm like, God.
You deserve that table, boo.
So I'm walking just very, like, front forward, and I can hear the girls. I can hear them.
Oh my God.
That's Miss Florida USA from last year.
Shut up.
She's back. Oh my God. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I sit down and I see the owners in the front, and I'm like, I'm here.
You're
you
like
know, let the
sizing
games
each other
begin.
up.
Let the games begin,
Like, I'm here,
bitch.
you know. And it, I was so hyped. And, like, you can tell it in my spirit and my energy.
You're
like,
ready to go.
I was so ready to kill it. I come back, I start competing. It was a 4-day run. I win. It was,
So good.
it was amazing.
Yeah, because, I mean, you
showed them.
and you had already gone through so much at that point. Okay, I have a question for you. In the time period that you kind of took for yourself to just heal and decide on what you want to do, if you want to compete again or if you don't, what do you think helped you the most in that time period of just healing and kind of finding you again and finding grounds to stand on? Because you mentioned that you had gone through a depression.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our listeners can get some value out of that and just like mental health in general.
Yeah. And how to recuperate from like a loss like that.
Well, you know, for me, it was more about, you know, when you have family that love you, you know, and they don't see that you're happy, especially, you know, me being raised by all women. Like, I didn't want my mom to have to deal with me being sad and depressed in the house and have to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
Because,
you didn't want to put that back.
Yeah, it was just, I just felt like it wasn't fair.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I think that even you guys, everything that you guys do is for the people that you love. You know, you want them to feel proud of you.
Yeah.
And you want to feel accomplished in life. So for me, it was like, it's my moment to do it now, or
Yeah.
I'm going to have to live with it for the rest of my life if I don't take that leap of faith and I take more risk.
Yeah.
So I did it more for that reason. You know, I did it for me, for my family, and I feel like I deserved it because I worked for it. And even though the opportunity was taken from me at that moment in time, I had a second opportunity.
Yeah.
And the
So you just kind
Chrisleys,
of, not to interrupt, but you kind of set your sights on that and let that kind of fuel you.
yeah, and the Chrisleys from the very beginning, when they were doing their presentation, introducing themselves as new owners of the franchise, they said it. They're very like straightforward people. They said, we don't play that here. Like, we don't need the drama. If you're gonna come and compete, bring your A game.
Right.
We're gonna choose the best.
Wow.
And I was,
What
of
a-
course,
what
the
a-
best.
What a redemption. Like, oh, y'all want to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back and fucking win this
Yeah,
shit.
which is what I
love
did.
that.
And
Dude, you have to
Man.
write a book.
I do.
You have to write a
I'm
book.
looking into it. It's just a lot of work. And
Yeah.
I'm a perfectionist. I like taking the
course.
time to really like.
It might take a while, but
Yeah.
you gotta
Start
gotta
somewhere.
start.
Yeah, like
Do
I
it.
said earlier.
Do it. We're pushing for you.
So I just told myself, you know what? I'm gonna put the best foot forward to compete at USA. And as I was getting closer to compete to USA, I fell into another depression
Wow.
for the second time.
And what do you think that was?
Stemmed from.
Yeah.
I think we all in life make some decisions, like make decisions that we wish we didn't. And it was a personal situation that I got myself into. I'm very forgiving. I can forgive anybody. You can spit in my face and I would always forgive you. I was just raised like that, you know,
Yeah.
not to hold grudges and just to always try to be a better person and the bigger person.
Sure.
And, you know, I think for me, the hardest thing is to forgive myself sometimes.
Yeah.
And I
got
kind
chills.
of, I kind of held on to that too much. And I got very depressed.
I think a lot of, I think it goes hand in hand. Like, I think a lot of people who are dealing with depression and trying to kind of just, battling mental health issues, it's like they're battling the mental health, but on top of that, they're battling the shame and the guilt that comes with it.
Shame and guilt is huge. You always carry that with you, especially if it's something that you felt like you got yourself into.
Yeah.
Which was my case.
We have tendencies to blame ourselves and ask how we put ourselves in this situation.
And it's one thing to hold yourself accountable too, because that
I did.
You have to be truthful with yourself, and there's value in that and you can grow from that. But you also have to recognize, like, if you're just self-deprecating.
Yeah. Everyone's like, don't be so hard on yourself. And I'm like, I fucked up.
But that's okay to own that too,
I did for some time, but I feel like I got to a point where it wasn't healthy.
Yeah, right.
And Miss USA kept on getting closer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wouldn't even leave my house. Like, I had social anxiety. It got really bad. I was with someone at the moment who tried to, like, help me get out of it. But there was nothing no one can do for me. I had to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And how did you pull yourself out of that? Like, what were some resources that helped you?
I couldn't. There was, I did everything that I could, but USA just kept getting closer and I was still feeling very down. I didn't have the same self-esteem. I kind of put myself in a position where I closed myself out. I didn't talk to my friends or my family,
Yeah, that tends to happen.
I just felt like I didn't want them to see me like this again. Like, here she goes again,
Yeah.
And even though there was things here and there that I know I can do to pull myself out of it, because I had great people around me, my same team from the beginning.
Right.
Genesis, like, it's time. You got to put it together. Like, please. Like, you can win Miss USA. This would change your life.
Do you think that helps?
It helped a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But still, that's work you got to do on your own.
100%.
So, for me at that moment, when I see that USA is getting closer and I'm not feeling any better, and I knew that I had to pull myself out of that hole, the only thing that pushed me was, I have a flight to catch.
Right. Like, literally.
So
no
it's
choice.
either now or never.
Right. Wow.
So I did my wardrobe. I packed my bags. I got help from my trainer at that moment. Her name is Tammy. She has a facility in Weston where she was training me as we got closer to USA. And, she was a big mentor in my life. And she kind of just pushed me through it mentally. And I thank her for that. Like, she's really been there at any rough moment that I've had in my life. So we had a relationship already for a long time. She was my trainer when I competed the first year. So... I went to USA feeling down and depressed, but when I got there, it's just like the competitive side of me just kind of kicks in.
Yeah. And it's kind of a healthy thing, I mean, if that is what turned you, kind of flipped you around and made you just like, okay, it's game time.
It's your passion.
Yeah.
I was so passionate about it. And girls felt a little intimidated when I came in that year because they knew I had won the year before. They knew the whole story.
Right.
So I had more to prove,
Right.
Not only because of that, but also, like I mentioned earlier, because I'm Latin and because I'm a woman of color. So when I went to USA, I had a great roommate, which helped a lot. She was a very kind, very sweet girl, Abigail. She was only 20, her first pageant. So that helped a lot. It was a great class of 2018. And, I think... after experimenting the lawsuit, trying to find myself, come back and win, going through that depression again, I had a point where I was feeling so bad and ashamed of everything that led up to that moment that I was living here in Brickell. I had a really nice apartment here. And those moments where you're just kind of like crying out for help, but there's no one that can help you. I did have a lot of thoughts, negative thoughts, suicidal thoughts. And I remember that they were fixing something in the back of the building where my strain of the building, the doors were locked from the outside. So I could not leave to my balcony. But every day I would wake up thinking, how can I end up feeling this way? And I thought that would be an option. But I always had in the back of my head, I could never do this to my family.
Right.
I have to find another way out. Suicide is definitely not the way to go, but I was that deep in that hole.
You were there, yeah.
Not only because of that, but because I was going through a breakup, and like it was just like all at the same time. And I just felt like that's a way out. And then I realized, you know, life is a beautiful thing, and I have to be more grateful, and I have to have more gratitude for the opportunities. God gave me a second chance. I got to take it now because I might not have another one. Went to USA, killed it, had an amazing time, placed top 5, depressed. Who would have known if you see the videos? Nobody.
Yeah.
And I think that's where social media plays a big part, because people see these scenes and they don't understand.
I have chills.
They don't understand that this is just a platform to show people. Everyone's going to show their best side.
It's a highlight reel.
I wish we can be more open and show the true side, but, you know, as an open conversation that we should start talking about. And I think for me, that's where I don't edit my pictures. You know, I can edit something if it's a professional photo, but like I try to show people the raw genesis.
Yeah.
Even though I know it has a lot to do with, you know, just how you manage your social media. Not everyone has mastered it. I think I'm pretty open.
Yeah.
I share a lot of positive things, even though I'm not going to complain. Hey, I live in Miami. I live a great life. But, you know, for those people that are going through hard times in their lives and have been in a position that I know that I have been before, I have to tell you guys this: it can get better, but it only leads up to you.
Yeah.
And that's where mental health comes in play. You got to feed, you know, positive things to your mind. One, the people that you have around.
Surround yourself with positive people who love you and care about you.
How do they influence you? You know, how do they make you better? And I think for me, that's something that also helped me and change, you know, the way that I wanted to live my life, because I just started cutting people out of my life. This is a bad toxic relationship. Goodbye.
Yeah. I think that I'm so happy you said that, because I think people underestimate the effects that having a toxic relationship or friendship or a family person in your life.
It can make you or break you.
I really feel like people underestimate how much that can affect you.
And how liberating it is when you do cut that off, and like when you do like cut those people off, like how much of a weight is lifted off of your shoulders.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I think relationships, you know, they don't only play a big part, but, you know, I think we can all relate to this as young women that have grown into our womanhood. You know, we all have a little bit of a soul tie sometimes with people, and it's hard to let go. And, you know, in that position that I was in at the moment, I was giving importance to the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And it was that relationship. It wasn't important. But, you know, I'm such a lover and like a passionate person. And like, you know, I felt it. And it hurt me a lot to have to go through that.
It feels like you're cutting off like a piece of yourself.
Yeah.
I get it.
And I wish that if I had to give advice to young girls, which is what I'm doing now, being a life coach and a pageant consultant, is this is your time. Take advantage of it. Make the best out of it. Yeah, we all go through hard times. You know, find a way to find people that are going to be pro you and are going to help you and are going to push you. And if you don't have that outside help like I did, I mean, it's your life. So you got to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
And if it's cutting a relationship, a family member, a bad habit, whatever it is, you have to do it if you want to live a better life. Or you can sit on Instagram, literally, and like watch people live their best life.
Yeah.
And
or best life.
Best life.
Right.
Because behind that, you know, there's real life shit going on. You know?
Yeah.
My mom was sick at the moment. You know, she has fibromyalgia. I had to deal with that. And just life itself.
Yeah.
Everybody lives with life itself.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Other than pageantry, I had to do that. You know, and there were other things that were really, you know, affecting me, but you have to learn how to manage. And I think it all starts with discipline. You guys asked me for a pro tip, right?
Yeah. I was gonna make sure we circle back to that. We always have a pro tip every episode, and we definitely want to hear yours.
So I think my pro tip is something that I've seen how much has helped me, especially in this past few months since I turned in my Florida title in January, is discipline. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. Because
you want to die right now? Look at my background.
It is. And it takes time.
It's literally a quote. Nobody wants to tell you why discipline is so important. Discipline is the strongest form of self-love. It is ignoring current pleasures for bigger rewards to come. It's loving yourself enough to give yourself everything you've ever wanted.
Oh,
For sure.
Chills, bro.
Like, and I had to learn that the hard way, unfortunately. Because, you know, and that's with everything, with your time, with the people that you have around, with what you invest your time in.
And energy.
And your energy.
Yeah.
And this is why I think pageantry is so big in my life, because it's taught me so many things about myself. And of course, when I walk into a place, they see a beautiful, put together woman, but it took a time to build her in so many ways. Yeah.
I keep getting chills. It's so good.
It took a long time to build, you know, and for me, but also because I know a lot of young girls look up to me.
Yeah.
I have a younger sister, Luisa. She's turning 15 now. And, you know, just going, you know, through her books and seeing myself in her binder, you know, I have someone that's looking, you know, for me as an example. So I have to set the best example for her. Because I know when my dad gets old and die, like, I'm all that she has.
Yeah.
So
it's funny you say that because we're all crying. It's funny you say that because we'll go into our next section or segment, which is our deep dive, and we ask our guests, what's your why? And when we originally spoke about this, her why was her little sister Bella.
Who's 16
because she's, you know, she takes the role as her role model, and yeah.
So, you know, for me, I'm just grateful that I was able to live those moments in my life that changed my life for the better. These past few months have been incredible for me because they have taught me so much, especially when I find myself in that position where I am not in a good place mentally. How can I change that?
Yeah. And for our listeners, what would be your biggest?
I would say get out the house.
Yeah.
Get out the house. You know,
Change your environment.
Change your environment. Find some good food.
Change your energy.
Yeah.
You know,
So tan. Do something that just makes you happy.
Yeah.
And just, you know, I think growing up, we think we know it all. I think your parents are always going to be the people in your life that are going to find a way to tell you just the right thing to, like, get you out of that. And keep them close. I wasn't very close with my father growing up, to be honest, but I felt like rebuilding that relationship was important. And I've been working on that for the past couple of months. And I feel like it's changed my life a lot because he lives here in South Florida. And sometimes I wouldn't even reach out to him just because I felt like it wasn't his problem or like he didn't care as much. And, you know, I felt like even though, you know, we didn't live in the traditional home with a mom and a dad, I felt like he deserved a second chance too to kind of like reinvindicate himself. And I seen him do it with my little sister. He's the best dad ever. And like, who am I? You know, when you're growing up and you're a father for the first time, you're kind of still figuring things out. And I just felt like, you know, it would be very selfish of me to think that just because my life didn't play out how I expected it or wanted it, like all my friends who had their mom and dad married, you know, I wasn't worthy enough or I wasn't good enough.
Right.
I kind of felt like that growing up. But seeing him take that role with my little sister, I just felt like it's only fair for me to like give him a chance.
Yeah. And I think I can say for myself as like, the older I get, the more I see my parents as individuals and not just my parents. I'm like, oh, okay.
They've lived.
You experienced 50 years of your life before I even came around. Like my dad, only 40. My dad had us when he was 40. Oh. So it's like he
knows some things.
Yeah. And like you've had a whole ass life, and like who am I to judge you for the decisions you've made? And you know,
exactly.
And
he was involved. Like my mom was a hustler. She was working throughout the year, and when summer came around, she's like, here are your kids.
Yeah.
Take them for 2 months.
Right.
And, you know, I was very involved with like my aunts. Like everyone has truly been a part of my growth in life.
Yeah.
All my aunts, all my uncles, my grandmother. Like I've had, you know, a big support system. I see it now.
Yeah. But at the time it's hard to see because you take it for granted. You're like, oh, they're there.
Yeah, and they'll always be
been
there.
Big fact.
We're going to get into our last section or segment. The deep dive.
Ooh.
Okay. Ooh. Dive. Okay, so the first question of the deep dive is, and then we kind of touched on this before, but maybe if you want to recap it, what is your why? Which is like, what is your bigger bigger purpose in life? What motivates you? What wakes you up in the morning and gets you like ready to start your day?
I would definitely have to say my family.
Okay.
Mainly my grandmother. You know, she's almost 80 years old now, and the way that we were raised was, you know, in the south of Puerto Rico, you know, just, you know, middle class people. My grandmother used to have 17 of her grandkids over for vacation every year. So, you know, seeing her get older and growing into, you know, my womanhood and understanding my role for the next generation, it's just, you know, how can I make it better? You know, how can I make them proud?
Yeah.
Having younger siblings that look up to me, like I mentioned earlier, my little sister, Luisa, she's experimenting a lot of things that I experimented. And I just tell her, like, no one's going to want the best for you but your parents. Like, just listen.
Yeah.
You know, if I would have listened to so many things my mom had told me when I was younger and I was just so naive and just so rebellious, I would probably be a step ahead in life. It's the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's
advice.
something, take advice and just listen to your parents. You know, they're going to want the best for you. And when they have an instinct about something, like, it's there for a reason.
True.
So,
cool.
Definitely my family.
I love that. Okay, the second one is, you want to go for it?
Yeah. What is your favorite quote and what does it mean to you?
So my favorite quote is, it's quite long, so I'm going to read it.
Okay,
Go for it.
And it's from Iyanla Vanzant. She's a life coach. And I don't want people to think I'm getting religious, but I have my own personal relationship with God. I was raised very Catholic. And like at a young age, I understood that it had nothing to do about religion. It's about my personal relationship with God. And when I feel like there's nothing that I can do in my power to push me through, like, I know that it could be a prayer away.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a higher being other than me, myself, and the people that we have in this earth that has everything planned out for us, even when we feel like our plans are the best.
Yeah, it's kind of just having faith.
Yeah, so I think it just has a lot to do with, you know, faith, and that kind of like disconnects you from your own, you know.
Yeah,
like there's
ego.
Your ego. Sometimes your ego is so big, girl.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so big that you can't see the bigger picture. So the quote goes like this: "In my deepest, darkest moments, what really got me through was a prayer. Sometimes my prayer was, God, please help me. Sometimes it was, thank you. What I've discovered is that intimate connection and communication is that my creator will always get me through it because I know my support and my help is just a prayer away."
I love that.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like trusting the universe. And like trusting a higher power.
It's funny you say that because, you know, after I came back from USA, placed in top 5, you deal with it. You got to go through some things where people are like in your DMs. You could have won if you had a better dress. You could have won if you had a better answer. And I'm just like, dude, I did the best that I could.
Yeah. And
like, it wasn't for me. It was for Sarah. And we're really close friends right now. And like, you see how you built relationships with people and they become part of your life. I just went to her wedding.
That's
That's more valuable than being salty and having that negativity. Like, that's more beautiful than anything.
So I came back and I had to deal with that, and I went back to corporate and told myself this is not for me. And I said that. I said, I'm going to let the universe, I'm going to be more grateful. I'm going to show more gratitude. I'm going to be more open. And these last couple of months have been incredible. That's why I was so excited to come on here because, you know, I wanted to share my piece.
Yeah. Oh, I love that for you.
Yeah.
We always talk about just inner peace and like how that is everything.
Invaluable.
Yeah.
It's everything. I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so our last question to wrap up this beautiful interview is, what do you think separates successful people from those who give up, fail, or never get started on their dreams?
I think it's just about, like I mentioned earlier, just feeding your mind positive things.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we can get too caught up on watching how ahead the person next to us is doing that we kind of forget to, what is it that I am going to do to get me where I want to be?
Right.
And sometimes they're little steps.
Yeah.
You know, what happened to me, like I said, this year when I turned in my title. I turned in my title and I was like, okay, so what's next?
Yeah.
And it's not that I didn't prepare myself. I was going through shit.
Right.
I was still trying to figure it out. You know, the city was still very new to me.
Yeah.
I didn't really have the right people around me. I had to cut a lot of people out of my life that were kind of weighing me down, and that was hard for me to do. But I think once I took that, initiative to understand that this is my life. And I know people say, you only live once. No, you live every day.
Yeah.
You only die once.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with the time that you're here? Who are you going to invest your time with?
I love that.
And to and from. So, time management and believing in yourself is very important, because if you don't believe in yourself and you don't have the right people around you, it's gonna, take you back.
Yeah, it's gonna weigh you down.
It's weighing you down.
You're a product of the people you surround yourself with. We've said that. We preach that. And I think it's so true. And it affects your energy and your
everything,
mental health.
your aura.
Yeah.
I told myself about 3 months ago, I want to come back on the scene. And I want to kind of reintroduce myself, not only as Genesis the pageant girl, because there's so much more. There's just so much to me,
Yeah,
They see me and they're like, "Are you a model?" And I'm like, "Not quite. I mean, I do a little bit of everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
I work in the community. I'm supportive of my friends and their projects."
Yeah.
And, not only you guys, but,
And it's a balance, too.
Yeah.
Life is all about a balance and finding the pillars of life that keep us happy and content and at peace.
And definitely, just find your happiness within yourself. I think that's something that I learned, that I don't have or need someone to be pouring into my cup.
Right.
I'm going to pour into my own cup.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
And if you want to pour a little bit in my cup, then that's fine. But expect nothing from anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I'm going to go back to relationships. When you're in a relationship and you are not happy with yourself, it is not going to work. Because
Amen.
sometimes you put someone's, the most effort into making this one person happy. And you pour and you pour and you pour and you pour, and then you end up fucking empty.
Yeah. We
Truly.
literally, like
there's nothing
words
left
out of
for
Jess's
you.
mouth. Yeah.
And it could, if you're a woman, it's even harder. Because, women don't need love. Men need love.
Yeah. Facts.
Women need attention.
And yeah.
And when you pour so much into a relationship and you see that it's something that is not, you're not getting anything back from it, it's frustrating.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And I think, as women, sometimes we just need to put ourselves first.
Yeah.
And men too, in any relationship, I believe both people should be completely happy, living a very healthy lifestyle.
As
and just
individuals.
As individuals and
then
kind of
together.
coming together.
Yes.
And I told God one day, I said, "God, until I don't have my shit together, please don't introduce me to anybody else. I don't want to fuck this up."
Yes, I love that.
I'm done wasting time.
So I'm still single.
Cool.
I think I'm in a great position right now to take
Good.
advantage of any opportunity that comes my way. And when the right guy comes, and it's gonna come, and
You hear that?
I'm on the market. No, I'm good. I'm just
Living, you're just doing you, boo.
yeah, I'm just doing my
Cool.
thing.
Good. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you,
sharing your
guys.
story.
Love you guys.
For
You guys are
taking
doing
the
great.
time. Thank you. And guys, if you like this episode, please give us a like and review and comment and reshare on your stories and whatever you gotta do. Show some love.
And where can they find you?
Yeah, tell them where they can find you.
I'm not a super huge social media, brat, but on Instagram is Genesis, Genesis. And hold on, can you believe I don't know my handle?
It's okay. No, that's
I think
good.
it's Genesis Vega _
I think
Hey, I love that.
it's genesismary.d on Instagram.
Okay.
On Facebook is Genesis Davila, Davila. And then on Twitter is just Genesis.
Okay, cool.
And then my
Many
consulting
names.
page. Can I just put it out there?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
go for it.
It's just something that I'm working on. It's very new. I'm still building my website, but it's Genesis Consulting __.
Cool. And we'll make sure we tag all the handles for you guys.
Yay.
And thank you so much, guys. And happy Monday. Have a great week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.